As you're walking off the field, Jay, thoughts going through the head? I mean, you don't know if you'll get that chance again, or that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that goes through your head. At the end of every season, it goes through your head. When I was at James Madison in 1994, we lost at Marshall in the national quarterfinals, and I stopped for a minute and just looked around because I didn't know if I was going to be back the next year in terms of, because, the guy I was coaching for, Rip Shear, was up for a couple jobs and didn't know if I'd be at James Madison another year. So, I mean, it's no different than that. But in terms of at any time the season ends, you never know what's going to happen. But obviously being here 17 years, that has a little more significance than being somewhere else and being at Penn State and maybe not coaching here next year. We'll see.
Did you stop for a minute out there coming off?
Yeah, absolutely. I do that at the end of every year, but, the last couple of years I've been in the box.
Yeah.
So, walking off the field is a little different. I always soak it in because, even if they call me tomorrow and say we're going to give you a 20-year contract to coach at Penn State, I can get hit by a bus or sick or whatever and not coach next year. So, so you always have to take that moment. Tomorrow's promised to no one, and you gotta soak these moments up. I just wish today had been a little bit better, but we'll see.
Are you going to dive right into recruiting, or are you going to take a step back? And
I thought you said, "Are you going to die?"
No. And honestly,
I think some people probably wish I would, but that's
no. Do you think you need to take a step back at all, just after everything you've had to deal with, both personally and professionally, over the last 2 months?
This week we'll probably get on the road just to see the kids that are committed. We probably won't be out pounding the pavement for juniors and that kind of thing, but go out and see the kids that are committed just to reassure them that they still have a future at Penn State. But next weekend, probably Saturday and Sunday, take some time with my kids and do something, just to be around them and get a little lift from that. And I got a new dog about a month ago, so I'm looking forward to seeing the dog when I get back, because she has no idea who won today. But I'll take a day or two.
The dog will love you no matter what.
Absolutely. And my 4-year-old's the same way, so I got 2 of them at least.
Jay, Rob seems to throw the deep ball pretty well, but the underneath stuff, the short stuff, has he made any progress in those areas? Discernible progress?
Yeah, I thought he made a couple of good ones today. Until we look at the film, it'd be tough to tell you exactly one way or the other, but I think he has. I think we just, we had a couple throws a couple catches we could have made, a couple throws we could have made, but I have to look at the film to give you a more definitive answer on that. The one curl he threw to Moy, it looked like the kid was draped all over him on the 3rd and 9, which I thought the ball was there. But like I said, I'll have to look at the film. And I don't mean to be evasive on that. I just got to look at the film a little bit.
Hey, Jay, did you do anything, say anything different with the routine before the game because of the situation? I mean, anything different maybe you did with your routine?
No, not at all. I tried not to. Trying. One thing that Joe has always taught us is to be consistent. You treat every game the same. And so from your terms of this morning, it was probably, I was probably a little more emotional when I first got up in the morning, and then put that behind me and just stayed in my normal routine.
You talked about looking at film. Do you really plan to do this in this game? It's such a different circumstance.
And for the optimist, I will look at the film and grade it, and with the idea that I'm be coaching. I may be coaching Rob next year. We'll see, and Matt and Shane McGregor and all those guys.
Your family's been such a huge part of what Penn State football has been for a long time. Do you know what Penn State football is going to be now, going forward?
I wish I could answer that. I don't know. I think some of it's going to depend on who the next head coach is. But I think our one thing I will say is our alumni base and our fans and our students, they have an expectation of what Penn State is about. They have an expectation that our kids are going to go to class, that they're going to carry themselves a certain way, and a lot of our former players have that expectation. And I, as a former player and maybe a former coach, whatever it is, I have that expectation, and a lot of guys have come to me, former players, and said, no matter what happens, we're going to demand that things at Penn State continues to mean what Penn State has always meant. And with all these things that have swirled around the last 2 months, it's been easy to lose focus on the fact that our players have continued to go to class. They've graduated at a high rate. They have been successful with honor. And so I think that's one of those things that's going to continue. And I think that's one of those things that we got to start to fight for as a program, that people recognize that has not gone away. It will not.
If this game marks the end of an era, so to speak, can you sort of speak to how unique this situation has been for the staff to have this kind of longevity, for you guys to stick around as long as you have?
I don't think you'll see it again in college football. I really don't. I think that's. I think we're in a very immediate results-oriented society right now, not just in athletics, but in everything. And I think it's awfully tough. I mean, Mike Krzyzewski joked this summer when he was at Penn State that he wouldn't have made it out of year 3 at Duke in this environment because he was a guy they took a chance on, had a losing season to start, and they were patient with him, and it's obviously paid off. I don't know that you have those scenarios anymore. I really don't.